So obviously, this film was needed, and so what was the trigger to make a film about pop culture, positive pop culture icons for you or Kristy, or whose idea was it?
Well, actually, Kristy read an article in the New York Times about. Are you meeting for the first time? You're like a celebrity. She about Gail Simone, who was Wonder Woman's first female writer, and we thought and we thought the whole film was actually going to be that story. But the more we dug and the more we researched, we realized that it actually, had this kind of 70-year history that was worth telling, and was a great way to explore the history of feminism. So it grew from there.
Yeah, and so question for the editors: how do you take 70 years and craft that and mold that into what we have seen today?
How do you take so many years? Thanks, Carla. Thank you so much. Well, it was nice to have Wonder Woman as like an anchor to all of this. So I think that was the start. And I guess the way we worked in a large way was that Carla kind of crafted much of the history of Wonder Woman, and I was sort of dealing with the second part of the film, which was kind of where we are now with the movies today and things like that. But there was a lot to work with, a lot to work with.
I guess it's the research is really important. Kelsey and Kristy did an amazing amount of research, and they just really knew the character, and they knew what they wanted to do, beyond the character, in terms of the world in general of female representation.
Actually, yeah, and another thing that we should acknowledge is a film like this really benefits from all the scholarship that was done by a lot of the people we interviewed in the film. So, for example, Jen Stoller, who wrote the Ink-Stained Amazons and Cinematic Warriors, and Kate Noble. I mean, the fact that you have people now, Kate is a doctor of psychology who actually specialized in the psychological need of women for female heroes. So we're really benefiting from people that just in the last decade have really gotten to devote their careers to this kind of research. But then also, when you make a film for 4.5 years, how many documentary filmmakers are in the audience? I'm just curious. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. A couple years into it, you meet somebody wonderful like Katie, and that leads you in a new direction. So we were so fortunate to meet Katie and Carmela, who is a New Yorker also, but unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, and Andy. So do you have any reflections you'd like to share on being here and seeing the film?
First of all, I'm glad I don't stutter like that anymore. So glad I got over that. It's really amazing to see myself so young up there in the movie, and remember what it was like to be exposed to that kind of media, Wonder Woman, through my mom and my dad, who are in the audience right there, by the way. My dad's holding up his iPad filming this. I remember being a little girl. I would wake up Saturday mornings. I would watch Wonder Woman and Justice League cartoons. She was my favorite superhero. I never really paid attention to Superman or Batman. I didn't really think of them that much. I loved Wonder Woman. There was Hawk Girl. I think that's all I can really remember. I was like 4.
So, Katie, you actually saw Wonder Woman on TV?
Yes. Yes, I would wake up because I didn't go to school. I didn't go to preschool, so I had a lot of free time when I was 3 to wake up early in the morning and watch cartoons.
Yeah, but now I have a 5.5-year-old daughter, and I don't think she's ever seen an image of Wonder Woman. So could she turn on the TV today and see Wonder Woman?
Honestly, it's kind of sad that she couldn't. Right. I hadn't seen much of Wonder Woman until recently. When I watched the Linda Carter show, because my dad's friend Eddie, who's over there, he gave me the DVD of He gave me the DVD of the first season, and that's all I've seen now. That's the most I've seen of Wonder Woman, and it's really sad that I don't see her more often on TV.
Do you have a favorite image of Wonder Woman? Do you like the Linda Carter Wonder Woman? Do you like the cartoon Wonder Woman that you grew up with?
honestly, they're both I love them both. Cause Linda Carter did an excellent portrayal of Wonder Woman. She is the Wonder Woman. I actually, for school, for Women's History Month, I actually did a project on her. I have the collage hanging up in my room somewhere.
So I know you talk about it a little bit in the movie, but can you tell us again, what's your favorite thing about Wonder Woman?
Because she's never dependent on anyone. She is her own hero. She does everything herself.
That's great. Do you have anything else you want? Let's open it up for questions. Back over here.
Yeah, the film is so exciting and so complete and wonderful, but I know that there have been a lot of obstacles in making it, and I'm just, as a filmmaker, curious about rights issues and what kinds of help you got and what kind of obstacles you faced.
Well, we were fortunate to have a wonderful entertainment attorney working really closely with us from the beginning. We were in communication with DC. They were aware of us, and long story short, we licensed what we had to, and what we couldn't afford to, we made sure we restricted our use of that material to the principle to fair use, which is a legal argument, and it protects the constitutional right of documentary filmmakers to tell stories that have a sort of educational and kind of socially critical function. So it was a little tedious, right? Like balancing the length of clips and voiceover and all that. So that was a primary challenge, you know. And I think as the producer, I'd say the other big challenge was getting a film like this funded. A lot of the resources out there for documentary filmmakers are restricted to films about social justice issues. And we were actually repeatedly told that this was not a social justice issue film, which I couldn't believe. And actually, the woman who said that was from Sundance Documentary Film Fund, and to their credit, they came around and did fund us a couple times. But initially, she said, you have to understand you're competing with films on, female genital mutilation. And I understood her point, but I also kind of felt like that affects a small portion of the population. And there's space for films that talk about something that is worldwide and transcends all these world cultures. And the very fact that it doesn't seem to qualify seems to beg the question, why aren't there more films like this?
In the back?
So I know that you did some research on different areas where there weren't a lot of female heroines. Did you take a look at traditional stories from around the world, like mythology? Because I've got a book of women warriors, and they have a map, and there's not very many. There's only several, and they're hardly known.
Yeah, this is definitely not the end of the kind of end all be all as far as canonizing all of the great stories like that are out there, and that's a very good point and a very good question. We unfortunately trying to cover so much ground in it's a 62-minute film covering 7 years of history, so we had to really kind of tether it to Wonder Woman and her story. The little bit that we got into Greek mythology as it kind of pertains to her origin story is in there, but I'd love to make, we could serialize this and.
So, the question, why is it 62 minutes? It feels like there could be several parts of it. Do you have that in mind to make it several parts?
It's, I know Kristy's been asked that question. She just kind of said this is the length that it needed to be. We were also hurtling to a close when we premiered at South by Southwest, and we submitted with a rough cut. So there was a lot of kind of working around the clock with kind of what we had and getting it done. But another big shout out to how many of you in the audience are Kickstarter supporters of the film? Awesome. You guys, thank you.
Big
Give yourselves a round of applause. You literally made this film get finished on time, so thank you.
Question in the back?
How can we help get the film seen more?
Great question.
To studio executives.
Yeah. I'll give you my card after the screening. We'll have a talk about that. But in general, we have a great social media presence. We have a Facebook page. Please like it. Let your friends know if you enjoyed the screening. We're going to have another one Tuesday night at 7:15. A great thing to promote is actually we're also going to be included on Independent Lens as part of their Women and Girls Lead initiative. So we'll be screening in April. Woo!
Have you heard any grumblings about there being a feature film about Wonder Woman?
Well, even since we started making this film, there's been talk forever about a script in development. At one point, Joss Whedon was going to direct it, and he wasn't. But he did come to our premiere at South by Southwest. True. But at one point there was going to be the TV series, and then, it's cyclical, and that's kind of what we get into. People kind of talk about wanting to do it, and then it gets a little too thorny or scary, and they don't want to offend anyone or alienate anyone, or maybe it won't sell, and then it doesn't happen.
So who would they be offending if they made a feature film about Wonder Woman?
Who knows? Spider-Man fans, I don't know. Any other questions?
We have time for about 2 more questions.
Yeah, I was wondering, it's just such a well-made documentary, and at 62 minutes, it's just perfect. Having any feelers out from Bravo or Showtime, or if there are a couple of Stars documentaries or HBO documentaries, it just seems so perfect.
Thank you. That's so great to hear. Well, hopefully, I don't know how often it happens that things get kind of relicensed, but like that, I would love to see that happen. Showtime was interested, but they kind of came around after we'd already signed with PBS. But there's so many great, honestly, you guys, there's so many great documentaries being made. I'm sure all the hands that went up, just right here on the stage are other great documentaries at this festival, and it's, an embarrassment of riches, really, and I just think it's so wonderful that you guys have great festivals like this and that you guys are out here supporting it. That's just massive. So it's a good thing when there are too many good documentaries in the world.
You have one more question here?
I love the film. It brought me back so much to my youth in such a great, inspiring way. But I wanted to know, how did you two meet? How did you guys meet?
Did you hear that the question was how these two met?
Actually, we didn't meet personally the first time I was actually interviewed, where you see me in the Wonder Woman costume. I don't remember the name of the man who...
PJ.
Yeah, PJ.
PJ Raval. Who here knows PJ Raval? Any filmmakers? Yeah, he was our very first DP, and he's a good friend of mine from Austin. And it's just so funny.
He found me while we were eating lunch, and he asked that when we were done, we would have an interview up on the balcony above, on the floor above, and we said yes. So a year and a half later, we didn't meet until a year and a half later when they called back and asked to do an interview at my house, where you see me trying to catch the Wonder Woman thing.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
It's still in my room.
So how did he find you? Were you wearing a Wonder Woman outfit?
Yes, I was in full costume.
Oh, at Comic-Con. Okay.
Oh my gosh, can I just say, it was hilarious, because he texted me, and we were trying to cover all of Comic-Con, and we were a camera team of 2. Kristy was having an emergency and wasn't able to come out for that shoot, but I was on a different floor talking to some DC executives trying to, get schmooze. And he texted me, and he's like, "Come to me now. There's the cutest girl in the world, and I'm interviewing her, and you have to be here." And I was like, yeah, there's cute girls all over this place. And then we, went and watched the footage, and I was like, oh, crap. And, I had to call him, and I was like, "Did you get her?" And he's like, "Yeah, I gave you a Post-it note with her dad's cell phone." So literally, it took about a year and a half for us to track down Katie. We were like stalkers. Where is that Post-it note?
Well, thank you all for sharing your story with us.